Iowa's Kris Murray joins his twin brother Keegan in the NBA, who was drafted 4th overall by the Kings last year. Kris going to Portland 23rd overall. Made great improvements from last season, increased his scoring average by 10.5 points per game from the previous season. Now, when asked what the primary difference is between him and his brother, Kris said, quote, "I've always been a little more of a ball handler and comfortable with the basketball in my hands, making the right reads." Kris Murray headed to Portland. Would you agree with the assessment that he made between himself and his twin brother Keegan, who, by the way, missed going by the Kings by 1 pick, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Yeah, listen, it's his own analysis. How am I going to possibly say I disagree with that? I feel like
because of what you've seen.
I think for the most part, yeah, he's the best source for that. Where Kris Murray got picked, this was the range overall. Not surprising. I actually think it is a wonderful fit. Kris, and listen, if there are traits that really are shared between brothers here, Keegan was able to step in and really validate his draft stock from a year ago. Kris, not quite as highly valued, but if you can take a lot of those things and apply them to his craft in his first season, then yes, we've got a wonderful pick here for the Blazers, and yet another good supplemental piece around Damian Lillard. Scoot Henderson is the headliner. But man, if you want someone who has experience and a lot of tangible things about his game, but also, yes, Murray is one of those guys who does have some of that classic intangible feel about how he can just kind of make an offense go. Ball won't stick. He's a good connective chain. I think this was a wonderful pick. And again, this was his anticipated range, really about 18 to 24 or so. So no surprise here.
Grade here?
B+.
Okay.
Kris Murray is a very good basketball player. He is a skilled, smart, offensive basketball player. He shot only 33% and change from the three-point line this year, but it was a role almost similar, almost identical to what Keegan did last year. And then when you go back a year before, when he was more of a complimentary guy around Keegan, although he's clearly the superior ball handler, he was up over 38% as a floor spacer, and that's going to be his role in the NBA, a secondary threat, someone who can space the floor, be a reliable decision maker, whether that's at the 4. Ideally, he develops enough lateral quickness to be somewhat switchable at the 3. I think that remains to be seen. But this is a Portland team that had a lot of long physical wings, but didn't have a lot of skill in those positions, especially at the stretch 4 spot. Again, you got Scoot Henderson, you got Shaedon Sharpe there to build around long term. Got Dame Lillard and Anthony Simons in the short term, maybe Jeremy Grant too. This is another guy you can plug in and space the floor, reliable decision maker, reliable spot up shooter.